Articles from the Labor Standard by Frederick Engels. Sixth article, Two Model Town Councils. Published June 25, 1881. We have promised our readers to keep them informed of the working men's movements abroad as well as at home. We now and then have been enabled to give some news from America, and today we are in a position to communicate some facts from France. Facts of such importance that they well deserve being discussed in our leading columns. In France, they do not know the numerous systems of public voting which are still in use in this country. Instead of having one kind of suffrage and mode of voting for parliamentary elections, another for municipal, a third for vestry elections, and so forth, plain universal suffrage and vote by ballot are the rule everywhere. When the Socialist Workingmen's Party was formed in France, it was resolved to nominate workingmen's candidates not only for Parliament, but also for all municipal elections. And indeed, at the last renewal of town councils for France, which took place on January 9th last, the young party was victorious in a great number of manufacturing towns and rural, especially mining communes. They not only carried individual candidates, they managed in some places to obtain the majority in the councils, and one council at least, as we shall see, was composed of none but working men. Shortly before the establishment of the labor standard, there was a strike of factory operatives in the town of Roubaix, close on the Belgian frontier. The government at once sent troops to occupy the town, and thereby, under the pretext of maintaining order, which was never menaced, tried to provoke the people on strike to such acts as might serve as a pretext for the interference of the troops. But the people remained quiet, and one of the principal causes which made them resist all provocations was the action of the town council. This was composed in its majority of working men. The subject of the strike was brought before it and amply discussed. The result was that the council not only declared the men on strike to be in the right, but also actually voted the sum of 50,000 francs, or £2,000, in support of the strikers. That subsidy could not be paid, as according to French law the prefect of the department has the right to annul any resolutions of town councils which he may consider as exceeding their powers. But nevertheless, the strong moral support thus given to the strike by the official representation of the township was of the greatest value to the workmen. On June 8th, the mining company of Commentry, in the center of France, Departementalier, discharged 152 men who refused to submit to new and more unfavorable terms. This being part of a system employed for some time for the gradual introduction of worse terms of work, the whole of the miners, about 1,600, struck. The government at once sent the usual troops to overawe or provoke the strikers. But the town council here, too, at once took up the cause of the men. In their meeting of June 12th, a Sunday to boot, they passed resolutions to the following effect. 1. Whereas it is the duty of society to ensure the existence of those who, by their work, permit the existence of all, and whereas if the state refuses to fulfill this duty, the communes are bound to fulfill it, this council resolves to take up a loan of 25,000 francs, £1,000, with the consent of the highest-rated inhabitants, which sum is to be devoted for the benefit of the miners whom the unjustifiable discharge of 152 of their body has compelled to strike work. Carried unanimously against the veto of the mayor alone. 2. Whereas the state, in selling the valuable national property of the mines of Commentry to a joint stock company, has thereby handed the workmen there employed to the tender mercies of the said company, and whereas consequently the state is bound to see that the oppression exercised by the company upon the miners is not carried to a degree threatening their very existence. Whereas, however, the state, by placing troops at the disposal of the company during the present strike, has not even preserved its neutrality, but taken sides with the company. This council, in the name of the working class interest which it is its duty to protect, calls upon the sub-prefect of the district, 1. To recall at once the troops whose presence, entirely uncalled for, is a mere provocation, and 2. To intervene with the manager of the company and induce him to revoke the measure which has caused the strike. Carried unanimously. In a third resolution, also carried unanimously, the Council, fearing that the poverty of the commune will frustrate the loan voted above, opens a public subscription in aid of the strikers and appeals to all the other municipal councils of France to send subsidies for the same object. Here, then, we have a striking proof of the presence of working men, not only in Parliament, but also in municipal and all other local bodies. How differently would many a strike in England terminate if the men had the town council of the locality to back them. The English town councils and local boards, elected to a great extent by working men, consist at present almost exclusively of employers, their direct and indirect agents, lawyers, etc., and at the best, of shopkeepers. No sooner does a strike or lockout occur than all the moral and material power of the local authorities is employed in favor of the masters and against the men. Even the police, paid out of the pockets of the men, are employed exactly as in France the troops are used, to provoke them into illegal acts and hunt them down. The poor law authorities in most cases refuse relief to the men who, in their opinion, might work if they liked. And naturally so. In the eyes of this class of men, whom the working people suffer to form the local authorities, a strike is an open rebellion against social order, an outrage against the sacred rights of property. And therefore, in every strike or lockout, all the enormous moral and physical weight of the local authorities is placed in the master scale, so long as the working class consent to elect masters and masters' representatives to local elective bodies. We hope that the action of the 2 French town councils will open the eyes of many. Shall it be forever said, and of all the English working men too, that, quote, they manage these things better in France? The English working class, with its old and powerful organization, its immemorial political liberties, its long experience of political action, has immense advantages over those of any continental country. Yet the Germans could carry 12 working-class representatives for Parliament, and they, as well as the French, have the majority in numerous town councils. True, the suffrage in England is restricted, but even now, the working class has a majority in all the large towns and manufacturing districts. They have only to will it, and that potential majority becomes at once an effective one, a power in the state, a power in all localities where working people are concentrated. And if you at once have working men in Parliament, in the town councils and the local boards of guardians, etc., how long will it be ere you will have also working men magistrates, capable of putting a spoke in the wheel of those dogberries who now so often ride roughshod over the people? You have reached the end of Articles from the Labor Standard by Frederick Engels. Article 6, 2 Model Town Councils. Click on the links at the end of this video to go to the playlist, or the next chapter if it's available. If you enjoy this content and would like to support the channel, please like and subscribe.